Yeah, let's go.
Go for it.
All right. This is the Bengals voice of the jungle. The post-game review, and obviously there's a little bit of a different attitude that we all have coming into the post-game. Our sole savior, everything that we have banked the entire future of the Bengals on, just got carted off in a absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, to go off and grabbing your heart or your left knee and you tweet out when you get on Twitter, even before the game ends, and you say, "Guys, I'll see you next year." It's devastating to all of us. Do I even need to say it? Like words?
Did you guys see the video? Because they didn't show the replay live. I had to find it on Twitter.
Yes.
It's not Dak bad, but it's.
He looks like Gumby.
Kirsty watched it. I refused to. I didn't want to see it.
I didn't want to, but I had to.
This is Brendan Burns' voice of the jungle. And this was eerily familiar. We've all seen it before. Number 9, same knee.
Don't say it.
Same injury. We
I bet
saw
you
it
checked
against
it
the
too
Steelers.
to make sure it was
now
the same knee
see
too.
It with Joe Burrow.
Left knee.
Right when we get a gift from the Lord of all football, when we get Joe Burrow gifted to us, we finally have hope.
Give it, and the football gods take
We
it away.
finally have hope just to get it taken away. And you know what? The Steelers fans around the nation are probably rejoicing because they were terrified of this guy until this injury, because now he's just going to be like Palmer when he comes back. There's a big question
that they wouldn't be, but
there's a big question. I want everybody to take a turn.
Hold on a second. Just like Palmer when he comes back, are we referring to the Palmer that came back into
Palmer
the
was
NFC
terrible after he came back
and went to the Arizona Cardinals and went on to face the Carolina Panthers?
I'm talking about Bengals.
That same
Bengals
Carson Palmer. The one that was coached by Bruce Arians.
He was never the same as 05 Palmer. Every fan of football
he was better.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter who we compare him to. It doesn't matter who we compare him to in the past. It doesn't matter if we have a jinx on us. It doesn't matter any of that, because all that matters is Joe Burrow is done for the season. And I was getting ready to cast a bronze mold of the kid. I mean, he was the only hope that Cincinnati had of a future, and it's washed down the drain.
Now I'm dead serious with this question. I want everybody's take. We're not going to win a game with Finley. If we get the number 1 pick, do we have to take Tever Lawrence? Because it's going to be a 2-year
deal. This is me. This is me.
Yours.
All right.
Go right ahead, Matt.
All right. So I knew you were going to ask this question, and I asked to be the first one to have the first take on you on this one. And I'm gonna just put that out there right now, because this is going to be a really hot take, and I want you to get ready for it, Brendan. So shame on you, number 1. Shame on you for that. Like, I'm the first person to think smart as a GM, but for the first time, dude, like you have to be emotionally involved in this as a Bengals fan. You cannot take Tever Lawrence first overall. You can trade that first number 1 overall pick as a king's ransom to another team and get a slew of draft picks.
So but you have to act like you're interested then. You don't even have to act like it. You don't even have to act like it. But you cannot take Tever Lawrence, because number 1, what does that say about how you view the quarterback position as a franchise? That is the most important. Number 2, most important position on the field, and we have to win while we have Mixon under contract. That's how. But
if you take Tever Lawrence, he's going to hold out. He won't come to the Bengals.
People were saying the same thing about Burrow.
He'll pull an Eli Manning. Hold out on the Chargers,
at the same time,
and go to the New York Giants. Just like that. He will hold out.
That sends a message to Joe Burrow that he's dispendable.
Exactly. And we cannot do that. We need to be like the Los Angeles Lakers.
He's not.
We need to be like the
cannot
Los
send that
Angeles
message
Lakers
to
when
him.
Kobe Bryant went out
Okay.
and offer him the biggest contract in the NBA, even with an injury. And we have to do that in a different way. We have to double down on our bet with Burrow, and we have to make sure that we trade that first overall pick, if we get it, for a slew of first overall picks, maybe a mixture of second round picks to invest in the offensive line. We have to double down on Burrow.
Do you think
can I say this?
Will do that though?
So what do we do if it's a 2-year recovery? What do we do? Do we roll out Finley for 2 years and just deal with it? No, we cannot survive with Finley. We can't survive with Finley.
Short term.
We sign a journeyman. We sign Ryan Fitzpatrick for a year to make it through.
Okay, that's fair. That's not a bad idea.
You sign somebody else.
We should honestly try to float a
draft pick in somebody.
Man, I wish. I mean, are any veterans available, or are we just gonna roll with Finley? Is it even worth watching with Finley? I'm serious. Can I pitch an idea?
Yeah, go for it.
It's gonna be a little radical.
We expect nothing less from that.
Kaepernick. Oh, that would be fire.
I would love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
We would probably win some games with Kaepernick. I think now, if you're gonna bring back Kaepernick, I think now would be the time, because not only does it say we still believe in Joe Burrow, but it says, hey, if you don't perform this year, you're done. We don't care. You're done. And it does not give him this, hey, we didn't give you a chance. It gives him a chance to prove himself. And then if Joe Burrow gets healthy next year and he's back in 2021, he had already proved himself on a team that needed a quarterback. And he goes to the Patriots. Yeah. He goes somewhere that needs a quarterback. I think bring him in for a workout.
I think in a more positive note, like, it shows that the Cincinnati Bengals are more progressive, and it would show that we are going to be part of the racial reform. So, like, I think that would be a great move. Like, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. We at least have to try him out. I think we have to bring 2 or 3 guys in for a tryout. I think if you're going to jumpstart the car, I think that's the best way how.
I agree. I didn't even think about that, but
are any other veterans available? I mean, I feel like, knowing Zach Taylor, we're just going to roll with Finley and get the high pick. But is that fair to the fans? I mean, this is the second year in a row we've had to do this. But is Zach Taylor really going to make that kind of a ballsy call when he knows that his balls are already on the line? He's not going to go out on a limb and make such an egregious and wild call when he knows that he's very liable to be fired next week. Anyway.
I mean, it's not really his call though. Like, he's not really. Yeah,
it's not his fault, but he's still going to be ultimately.
No, it's not his call. He doesn't get to choose if Kaepernick signed or not. Ultimately, that's up to the Brown family, because they and Tobin, because they're involved with most of what goes into signing players and the draft picks. Like, Taylor just gets a say in it. So, like, I mean, ultimately, like, that doesn't make Taylor's job any more, or I guess that doesn't put him on the hot seat any more than he already is. Honestly, it probably helps him.
What I think too, like, the conversation of, do we invest in someone like Kaepernick, or does Taylor just roll with Finley? I think the big if with that is, what is going to be the extent of Joe Burrow's injury? And we won't know that until the coming days. I think if there's a realistic possibility
Joe Burrow
that we're going to lose him this year, part of the offseason, and he's going to come back next year, then there's no reason to go invest. We can ride with Finley for a little less than a year if that's what it takes. But if it might be a year and a half, 2 years, then you have to start thinking a little more long term. And we're not really going to know that for the next couple of days, maybe a week, until we can get it checked out by the team doctor or personal doctor. We don't really know.
So what we need to do so the problem with the Bengals is, this is a business. Next year there will be fans. If this rolls into next year, we cannot have Finley, or there will be no ticket sales. I'm telling you that right now. Nobody wants to see Finley.
The ticket sales never
We
mattered.
saw him last year. We know
it's all about the collective bargaining agreement. It's all about the collective bargaining agreement. Ticket sales don't matter.
mean ultimately, if that's what we're talking about.
I mean, so if you're Joe Burrow, what's going through your mind? What are you thinking? Do you want to be there to help the team? Obviously, and I think a lot of this has to come down, and it comes down to what the actual injury is, how bad is it, what he did to his knee. All we know is that it's a left knee injury. We don't know what he injured in the knee. We don't know how severe.
Broken,
it could
ACL,
be a sprain. It could be a sprain, and he could be back. It could be, you know what I mean, something as simple as
he already said personally he's out for the season. So
I understand that
next year, but
I understand
if it's
that. But
if
again,
it's a serious sprain, that could be enough to keep him out this year, and he could be ready to go week 1 of next year. And if that's the case, then you roll with Ryan Finley. You don't even think about somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But if it's an ACL,
what if it's
exactly? You find out it's an ACL or an
MCL. That's a year recovery. That's a year
exactly. It all
recovery.
depends on
so we would get it back week 10 next year. If it's an ACL, we get him back week 10 next year.
So I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it has to come down to how bad is it. How long do we realistically think he's going to be out? What kind of injury is it? What's the real recovery rate? And how much are the stem cells going to be, and who's going to pay for him to inject them into his knee?
So this is another option. So we roll Finley this year. We already know what he is. We're not going to win any games with him. I don't either.
As far as backup goes, he's not the worst guy to have. He's not the best, but
he's not. But he's nobody. But I don't mean that he's nobody. But he's not a playmaker.
Okay, so you go into free agency, right?
Yeah.
You got either get a guy in free agency.
Jameis Winston's going to be available.
Or
he's on a 1-year deal.
But how much are you really willing to spend on a 1-year replacement? How much is this organization really going to spend? Probably not much.
Winston's got a cannon. I would love Winston. He's a turnover
machine, but
he
can't figure out what fucking team to throw the ball to.
I mean, we're just
touchdowns, 30 interceptions in a season. He'll throw it to anyone that'll catch it. A cannon doesn't matter if you can't put it where it needs to be.
Ultimately,
New Orleans doesn't even want Jameis Winston. They're starting to tight end.
You know who, Tyler? You know who else was like that? Brett Favre, one of the best of all time.
Jameis Winston is not Brett Favre.
They were both gunslingers. Favre would have 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. Like, he was just like Winston.
He was a fucking winner, though. Jameis Winston's not.
That's true. That is. Although Winston was a G last week, he kind of got screwed this week with.
All right, so I'm gonna put a timer on the clock, and I want to hear everybody. I'm gonna give everybody 30 seconds, and I want to hear everybody. I want to hear what you guys think that the next move should be. What do you think that the person, who do you think we should bring in? I want to hear what you guys think. All right, Tyler, you're going to be first up. What do you think? Give me I got 30 seconds on the clock.
Like we said, it just depends on the time frame we're looking at. If it's going to be less than a year, if we're looking at before the halfway point of next season, Burrow's back, I don't think it's worth investing time and money and bringing somebody else in just to dump him back off after that. If that's the case, cut your fucking losses, run with Finley. Is he going to bring us to the playoffs? Absolutely not. But is he going to buy us enough time to get our guy healthy? Sure. Anything longer than that, I like the Kaepernick idea. I'm not sure that our organization would be willing to go for it. They've made it clear they do not like to take risks and invest and do what they have to do. Mike Brown doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't care about his players, and he doesn't care about winning. It's clear.
Nice summary. Way to capture it up. Minnick, let's hear what you got. 30 seconds on the clock.
All right, so I got to just say I don't care the amount of time he's going to be out. Signing Kaepernick would be a great idea if you have the extra cap space. I don't have those numbers on hand right now. I got 20 seconds on the clock. So I think no matter what, signing Kaepernick would be a way to jumpstart the car. You go ahead and get the fan base excited, tell them you're not giving up on the season, and even if he's going to be out a part of next season, you're telling them that you're still trying for next season. All right. So, and then you can still invest in draft picks.
Nice. Totally agree. All right, Brendan, you got 30 seconds on the clock.
Okay. So obviously my number one choice would be Kaepernick, but knowing the history of Mike Brown and the Bengals, they're not going to do that. Let's just be honest. I do think there's going to be a couple available options if this is an ACL and it's a year-long or 2-year thing. I think there's going to be Tyrod Taylor out there. I think Brian Hoyer's going to be out there. I think we could draft like a rookie in like the 5th round because Finley's not good enough to be the backup. So we need to replace him too.
All right. I'm going to go for 30 seconds. Okay, so I agree. Finley is not the backup that we need. He's not the guy that's going to be the playmaker, but I think we ride him out, and I think that we bring in Kaepernick for workouts. I don't think that we instantly jump on a Kaepernick train or we instantly start making rash moves until we understand the seriousness of Joe Burrow's injury. But I also understand and think that we need to start making moves because Ryan Finley is not going to be our guy. He's a decent backup quarterback at best. And that's what I got. So,
okay.
Ultimately, you know, everybody, we've all got varying ideas, but of the same thing that we do we hold out on Tever Lawrence? I think we hold out and we to Minnick's praise, hold it for a king's ransom. You know.
Yeah. Let me ask Brendan. Let me ask Brendan. Are you taking Tever Lawrence in the first? If you got the first overall pick, are you taking him? I want to hear it from you.
So if I hear it's like it depends because if the Burrow thing, if it's an Alex Smith thing where it's going to be 2 years, I think we definitely take him. It's so rare to find guys that you know are going to be awesome in the NFL, and he's going to be awesome. Burrow, we knew was going to be awesome. But we're in the same situation that Washington was in with Alex Smith. They took Dwayne Haskins, which was the wrong guy. But if they got the right guy, it would have been awesome. It would have worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say the only time I've seen it work is with the Cardinals, where they took Josh Rosen, realized it was a mistake, pulled off Kyler Murray, and he actually agreed to still come to them. So I don't see that happening 2 times in one lifetime. I see like the next guy, like, you know, like coming to the Bengals is already like viewed as a negative thing in the first place. So I just don't see Tever Lawrence doing that because like then he realizes, he looks at Joe Burrow and he's like, if I'm in his shoes, I get hurt. Oh, you know, like I'm going to be ancient history next year. And
I'm not even opposed to the idea of drafting a quarterback, but it can't be a number 1 pick. You don't draft a franchise guy. You wait for a McNamara or someone in the 5th round who's going to be consistent for a year, but you're not going to put all your eggs in the basket of this is my franchise guy moving forward when you know it's not.
I think you go with Fitzmagic. Like if you're not going to take Kaepernick and you're going to take somebody who's proven in the league, I think you go with Fitzmagic because we took him. We drafted him originally.
Oh yeah,
so like what goes around comes around. He comes around. He's gone 3-3 for Miami this year. He's
aged like fine wine.
Yeah, he could potentially keep us in it because he's going to have a solid receiver core, and he's proven when he's had a solid receiver core.
Look what he did in Tampa Bay. Look what he did in Tampa Bay. I mean,
and then like you know, you got Tua who's coming off of a major injury. Like Joe Burrow is going to be coming off what's presumably, knock on wood, hopefully I'm wrong, is a major injury, and you know, like maybe he can hold off the competition for a while, and Joe Burrow comes back, and we're riding into the playoffs.
Oh yes,
like that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
What Tyler said, he said his name wrong. But what about AJ McCarron?
That's no.
I mean, you know, he's been here.
Burns, I'm talking about the quarterback from Michigan, Cade McNamara.
Special delivery from my beautiful girlfriend.
Oh, we don't want anybody from Michigan. Dude.
I wasn't talking about McCarron. I'm talking about a quarterback.
Oh yeah, you don't want Tom Brady? You
don't want Tom Brady? That was a fluke, and we all know it.
6th round pick.
Oh shit, I had to.
That was a fluke, and we all know it.
He left himself open for it. I had to do it. But dude, okay, so AJ McCarron, you can't. And here's the reason why. For whatever reason, I used to be on the McCarron bandwagon.
He's way better than Finley.
So the reason you can't do it is because for whatever reason, the amount of years he was behind Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis and co. never saw anything of him. And then he went to the Raiders and was there under Gruden. And then he even got a chance to come out and perform when Derek Carr went down. And he still wasn't shit. Like he
still wasn't starter material.
But
he's better than Finley. You have to think about this in a way that
that's really debatable. Like, and I mean, even if you're comparing anybody to Finley, if you're comparing anybody to Finley, then there's better options out there at the end of the day.
Well, if you're looking at Ryan Finley, there's better options out there.
That's what I'm saying. So
Ryan Finley's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, no, he's not one of the worst quarterbacks. He's not a quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. He's not a starter. Like, he's not a player. No, I'm not saying he's not a quarterback, but he was never. He was never
out of pure necessity.
He has never been rostered with an intention to start.
Okay, so I got a question for everybody right now, because I'm sure this is going through a ton of Bengals fans' minds as we go through this week. Was it a mistake to not go forward with Andy Dalton's final year on his contract, knowing our offensive line wasn't set up for Joe Burrow's success? Was it a mistake?
Dalton could have been the backup.
100%.
Or
100%.
I think
I'd rather Dalton than Finley.
I think there's more moving pieces to it. I think there's more moving pieces to it than meets the eye, and I think it's easier said than done because the culture of the Bengals is a lot to take in. And granted, Andy Dalton, not only is he's a good person all around, he's a good leader, and he's a very clean leader. He's almost like the guy that went to Young Life when you were a kid, and he's definitely the kind of guy that would stick around. But Joe Burrow's not the kind of guy that's going to need him as a mentor. Joe Burrow is the kind of guy that's going to need somebody like Chad Ochocinco. So I understand the Bengals saying, "Hey, let's get as much as we can. Let's get him down to the Cowboys while we have something that we can get out of him, and let's get him down there."
They didn't get anything out of him.
We didn't get anything.
Yeah, we cut him.
We didn't get anything.
Go check it. Yeah. We cut him. That's why I'm saying it was a mistake. Because we literally didn't get anything for him. His contract was for like $20 million. And
we didn't want to pay him. That was the problem. We chose to pay Green and not Dalton. That was what happened.
That's still better. I still say pay Green over Dalton. Who got a touchdown today?
I'm still on team. We should have traded AJ Green and got something for him while we still could.
Well, 100%.
Disgusting.
This is
disgusting.
This is so. This
if he leaves at the end of this year, we get nothing.
Okay, so I was watching Carolina on my fantasy app today, and they had PJ Walker. So their backup quarterback was good enough to win him a game. So that's how your backup should be.
He threw 2 interceptions, though.
But he won the game.
But they won.
But you have to understand
it might not be a pretty win, but at the end of the day, he did his job.
So, guys,
Finley,
about this.
There's no chance to win.
Think about this, guys. We had the first-round draft pick. Do you know what that means? That means we were last year. I don't expect any wins this year. I expect a slight improvement, and this is a rebuilding year. This is Zach Taylor's second year. This is Joe Burrow's first year. This is a lot of players' first year, and this is a whole new team. Mike Brown is finally entering like the 5th stage of dementia to where he's letting Katie start to take over the reins. And this is
he's no better.
I totally agree with that, Tyler. But at what I'm saying is that the Bengals, this is not a year to be judged as if, oh my God, we got Joe Burrow. We should have been we should be contending for the Super Bowl. You're blowing it way out of proportion.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't even look at the playoffs. I didn't even want to look at the playoffs. I don't even want to look at 5 wins. Playoffs.
No, this is what we needed to do. We needed to have – so we already failed in the mission because Burrow needed to play all 16 games, get as much NFL experience as possible.
That's what he said. He wanted to play a full, healthy rookie season.
And then next year we pushed for the playoffs. So him missing the last 6 games is big. That's a lot of football.
I think that realistically, that pushes back. We're even going to talk about potentially being a playoff team before this season. We knew it wasn't this year. Talking about a healthy season, playoff potential next year. This, even losing him the last 6 games of the year, it's a whole year.
Pushes it back a whole year.
At least. It pushes it back an entire year at least. Because who's to say, I hate to say it, but if you're being realistic, let's say it is as bad as it might be. Who's to say he's going to be the same him a year from now, 2 years from now?
So what if he comes out and he
goes?
That's
the big question.
Theoretically, what if he starts hanging out with Joe Rogan? He gets some of these stem cell shots, and he comes back with a transformer knee. And say this, that he comes back to start the 2021 season, and he throws for 1,500 yards. And he comes out
crazy, man.
He comes out with a DMT? 400. He comes out. Joe Rogan convinces him to do DMT, and Joe Burrow comes out of Texas, hanging out with Joe Rogan, and he comes back to be this Terminator-focused meditation, bow hunting quarterback that he always should be. And he comes in and he does phenomenal. I think that we start judging him based on what we know about this injury and when we know that they can inject him with the stem cells and how long this recovery is going to be. I think ultimately it boils down to that and what he is feeling going forward. All we know is that he sent out a tweet saying that he, assumed to see him next year. And that's all we know. We don't know anything else. What more I can't start making rash judge decisions and saying, hey, go sign these players. This is what we should do.
Like I said, it's going to be a few days until we really know the extent of what we're dealing with.
Yes.
I'm sure he's already meeting with a team doctor. He's going to get a second opinion. He's going to see a team of doctors. It's going to be a little while until we know for sure what kind of timetable we're looking at. We see all the time. Even if
you guys think I can throw this out there that, hey,
it's going to be 6 months. That gets pushed back. That can get pushed back. That can get pushed back. We're not going to know until we know.
So here's my question for each of you. Before we run out of time, everybody take their take on this. So in the off season, everybody, all the Bengals fans, all the reporters, all the media said, we need to protect our asset. And Zach Taylor defended this offensive line till the death. Should he be punished for today's result because of that?
No,
clear as day.
It's on ownership and management.
Can I please take this one first?
Yeah, go for it.
Number one, you are projecting things, Brendan, because you don't like Zach Taylor. You want us to rip Zach Taylor apart because you don't like him. I will shit on Zach Taylor when it's necessary to shit on Zach Taylor, but I'm not going to.
This is not necessary.
I think he did what he needed to do. You know who also praised the O-line? Joe fucking Burrow. That's who praised the O-line. Do you think we should go fire him too? No, I don't think we fire. I don't think
responsibility and your duty to back your guys, no matter how well.
Exactly.
Amen.
And I don't think that we go fire a coach because
sucks, but he can't go say that.
Absolutely.
He knows
I have people that work for me that I know suck, and it doesn't matter. You support
these front five are a bunch of fucking schmucks. He can't do it.
Exactly.
Part of being a coach is political.
The ownership knows this O-line is terrible. They know that the fans know that. Read the comments on any Cincinnati Bengals post on Facebook. That's all it is. Mike Brown's a dumbass. Pay to protect your assets.
Yeah, part of being a coach is being political.
They don't care to do it.
So one last thing before we run out of time. I think the silver lining we have to take out of today's game is that on the other side of the ball, we saw a quarterback who 2 years ago sustained a season-ending injury, and he came back from after 2 years of being out. And,
in the same stadium,
was making some solid throws out there. He's NFL caliber, shaking off the rust, solid. And then you also got to think to Carson Palmer. Almost being a Super Bowl contender.
We had the game when
he was with the Arizona Cardinals and Bruce Arians. So coming back from an injury like this, it is definitely not impossible. We just have to kind of carry that with us as Bengals fans and just kind of keep it on a positive note, and then know that going into next year's draft that goal number one is protecting our asset. Something we should have done this year, but we have to make good on next year.
So, guys, have you ever seen the movie Draft Day?
Have not.
I've heard it's about the Browns, right?
Yeah, it's about the Browns, but it's kind of a similar situation. But it would be in a few years. But basically, they have a good, solid quarterback, and it would be more as if it was a Dalton thing. But it's, hey, don't draft the new quarterback because he's shiny. Don't get the new shiny toy because once we've invested, and again, I don't want to start going into that because I think a lot of this has to do with the evaluation of how bad Burrow really is. So, all right, guys, we're running out of time. Let's go ahead, shout yourself out.
Matthew Minnick, voice of the jungle.
Tyler Bollinger, voice of the jungle.
B-Dog, voice of the jungle, fire Zach Taylor.
B-Dong.
Tanner Myers, voice of the jungle.
You had to. You had to do it.
B-Dong.
You had to.
I can't stand Zach. I can't stand that you hate Zach Taylor much. And you tried to get us to shit on Zach Taylor. You really did.
Is there something more personal here, Burns, that we don't know about?
There is.
Like, do you know this guy?
Like, did Zach Taylor ask your girl out on a date or some shit?
The only personal endeavor I have on
what happened?
He did not want to protect Joe Burrow, and now we're gonna cry and watch.
It's not his fault. He's not the GM. He's just the coach. He's not the GM, Brendan.
He has an influence.
This is us signing out. Voice of the jungle.
Good day.
BFTJ.
Take it easy, guys.